Hello everyone, and welcome to this video in the data structure series on arrays. When we talk about linear arrays, we're just talking about single dimensional arrays or arrays that are in a line. So you can imagine a linear array as a list of items. So if we were to have, say, a list of numbers, this one might have 4 numbers. So here we have 3871. It's a list of 4 numbers. This is an int array, and it's going to hold those 4 items. So in Java, in order to declare an array, what we do is we write the data type it's going to store, and then we use square brackets to indicate that it's an array. So this will be an int array. Then we give it a name. So we might say int array numbers. And that's declaring the int array numbers. You can do double array. You could do string array for a list of strings. And we're always just going to use those square brackets when we're declaring these. So with our int numbers here, when we first declare the array, so in this case we have int numbers, this is our declaration. Then we have to initialize the array or to set up the array. And one of the key things about a linear array is that the size is static. And what that means is that it does not change size. So when you initialize the array, you set the size, and then it does not change size from that point. So this is the declaration. This is where we declare the array. And then when we initialize the array, we would do numbers equals new int, and in this case I would say 4. I want 4 elements in my new array. So now what we've done is essentially, so this is our initialization, and what we have here is we've created a block of 4 int sized blocks, and we have a variable called numbers, which stores a pointer to the start of that block. So we know that the size of each of these is 1 int, and we know that where the starting point is. So what happens when we're using when we want to access elements in our array? So let's say we want to store the 3 in the first element. So how we can do that is we can say for numbers, I want to go 0 positions from the start, and I want to store a 3 in there. And this line of code puts a 3 in there. Now, if I want to go 1 spot over from the start, then I'm going to do numbers at 1 equals 8. And that's going to store an 8 there. So we can go all the way up to numbers at 2 and numbers at 3. And if we store values in there, we get that array. So now each of these spots is, we know how far offset it is from the start of numbers, so where the pointer is. And we call that value our index value. So for example, 3 is at index 0, which we see here. 8 is at index 1, which we see here. 10 is at index 2, which we see here. And -1 is at index 3, which we see here. So your index is your offset from the front, and it's how we can access values within the array.